Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to Ambition and Alchemy. You know, this is a podcast or YouTube channel that I've started, really to just bring out some really authentic people that I've met on my journey in entrepreneurship and in real estate and investing, and just have some really genuine, authentic conversations with them. Because in this world of YouTube, we have so many people who are, now putting their content online, and a lot of it is kind of regurgitated, right? Everything sounds the same. It's all the same, but I want something a little bit different than that. I want to kind of be set apart from that, right? And I think the only way to do that is to have real, true, authentic, genuine conversation, right? So we can get a feel for who the person is and what makes them different, what sets them apart from every other person that's doing the same thing that they're doing. So today is no different, but today is special
Mhm.
because of our guest that we have here, right? Um,
Mhm.
I met this gentleman at a really rough patch in my life, and just understanding the empathy and the heart that he had, and taking his time with me, being available, showed me exactly who he was. And from that point forward, from the very first conversation we've had, he's just been a tremendous spirit to be around, a tremendous person to know, a very genuine and authentic soul. And I want to share him with you guys, right? So today we have my good friend Trevor Finn. Trevor, welcome, welcome,
Oh,
welcome,
yes.
welcome, my brother.
Oh,
As I always told you, welcome to the table. Welcome to the round table. You will
yes,
always have a
yes,
seat at my
yes.
round table. I promise you, bro.
Thank you, Lawrence, bro. It takes one authentic soul to know another authentic soul. I
Mhm.
appreciate you. Thank you so much, man, just for taking your time out just to want to just share life again. You know what I mean? And now we're gonna do it in front of the public. But I really appreciate you, bro, man. I love your soul, baby.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Because it's not every day you come across authentic people, right? Especially in the world that we live in. Um, everybody's trying to make a dollar. Everybody's trying to, be the next hot thing, smoking. And to have somebody who comes across as, hey, you know what? I just genuinely want to help people. I
Mhm.
just want to see you win. I just here, let me give without looking to receive.
Mhm.
Like that's a rare quality, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
we resonated just kind of on those points, you know what I
Yep,
mean? So
yep.
it's a pleasure to have you here, man.
Thank you, bro.
I want to start this conversation with, you know, the one question, like, who is Trevor Finn?
Wow, that's deep. I like you starting off with the hit with the bangers right off the jump.
Always, man. Listen, when you start a baseball game, the first thing you do is knock it out the park, right? And then
Right,
everything else is like, okay, like what's
right.
next? Yeah. So,
Ah, who am I? I would say, in a nutshell, I am my gift from God is I'm an encourager,
mm,
and I am a great listener. I know those are my gifts from God, and those things show up every day in my life. Right? I meet strangers, and they just tell me their life story. You know what
mm,
I mean? And that's kind of like how we started as
yeah,
well. And
yeah,
wow, yeah, yes. And I'm a helper. You know, I love to help people. Um, I think those three things: encourager, a great listener, and a helper. Those are the three things that embody me.
awesome.
Mhm.
So a little bit about your background. Where are you originally from? Like, what was your upbringing like?
Okay. Well, you know, us New Yorkers, we always love to tell you we from New York, bro. We
Yeah.
always got to tell somebody we from New York. So I'm originally from New York, born in Harlem Hospital, born
Mm,
and raised in Harlem. Then in middle school, I went down to South Carolina, went to middle school, high school in South Carolina, and then I came back up to New York. And then when I got married, I moved to Brooklyn. So Harlem and Brooklyn, bro, is where I'm at.
okay, okay. Can't be mad at
Yes,
that.
yes,
Good.
sir. Yes,
Flying and
sir.
flashy. So where were you at in South Carolina?
I was in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Okay, okay. I
Yes,
like it
sir.
down there. I
Yep.
like it down there. I
Yep.
actually
The low
actually know a few
country.
people in that area. Yeah, low country.
Low country.
Uh, it's Geechee land.
Yeah. Oh yes. Geechee. Yep. Yep.
Huh?
Gullah Festival. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
That's them.
you can feel the spirit
Mm-hmm.
when you go down there. You know, I've heard that so many different times. Like
Yep.
going down towards Hilton Head and Buford and all those areas down there. Like it feels different, man. It feels way different.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You know what I learned down there? Um, what I learned down there was the Southern hospitality, and I also learned that black and white. I also learned that down there, right?
Gotcha.
Because I learned that a person of a different color would say, "Hey, you know what? Nice to meet you, but mm, we don't deal with your kind here." Straight up, like straight up.
This
And
is
I was
South
like,
Carolina.
and I was like, whoa. But the longer I was down there, so I think I was down there for like 6, 7 years. But so while I was down there, I really appreciated that because coming from New York, people people are not like that in your face like that. You know what I mean? They're more behind your back, talking, right? But down south, I love that was refreshing actually. It's very refreshing to know where people stand from the jump
Yeah, it's a
and
brutal honesty.
not the games that we got in the Northeast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
sir.
definitely a brutal honesty.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
I've I've grown to appreciate that as well
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said, you don't have to guess.
Nope.
You
Nope.
really don't have to guess.
Right.
So,
And it's up to you to choose if you want to have a relationship with them or not, because they just
mhm,
told you who they are.
yeah,
You know,
true.
I love that. I love that.
Yep. Yeah, waste no games, waste no time on trying to figure out friend or foe. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So a proud New Yorker
Yep.
with some Southern roots.
Yep.
Right? So on the family forefront,
Mm-hmm.
what is that dynamic?
Well, I know you had asked me earlier about my upbringing. So my both of my parents are from the South, right? So my dad, who passed away in 22, he was from Alabama. My mom is from South Carolina, right?
Okay.
So that's where I got those two things from. And growing up in New York, it was brutal, bro. It was brutal. Like I tell people now, if you look at any war torn country, that's how Harlem looked in the 70s when I grew up, bro.
Hmm.
You know, living in abandoned buildings, people living on top of people, no resources. Man, it was bad. It was bad. And the thing though that I took from that was I had people, God put people in my life that said, "Hey, we're gonna look out for you,
Hmm.
right? We don't want this specific lifestyle to be you." And people helped me along the path to like get out of that ghetto, that slum, to be where I'm at today. You know what I mean? And
Gotcha.
sorry for my lighting. I apologize for that.
No, you're good. You're good, bro.
Okay.
Listen, we don't need to see in order to hear. You know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying?
Yes, sir.
And definitely don't need either to feel. So, bro, so you're very spiritual. You know, I've heard you reference God a lot.
Yep.
Where does that where how did you become so spiritually in tune?
How I became in tune. Okay. So growing up, I didn't know nothing about God. Growing up, I didn't know nothing. Man, I was just a kid playing in the street, you know what I mean? Riding bikes, playing basketball, playing football, playing stickball, playing handball against the building. Like that's how I was raised, right?
Hmm.
And I remember one day in Harlem looking up into the sky and seeing the sun. Like it was just a beautiful day. The wind was blowing. It was the summertime. I looked up and I was like, man, there has to be a God that created that. You know what I mean? And for that not to explode or crash to the earth or do something destructive, I was like, man. But that was the only encounter with God that set it off, right? Now, I didn't come to know God until I was about 19, 20 years old.
Okay.
And like most men, I came to know God because of a woman,
Ah,
right? I saw
damn.
I was in college in New York, and I saw this beautiful lady walk across the the hall, and I was like, in my mind, I said, man, she gonna be my wife. I just knew it. I was like, man,
Mm.
she gonna be my wife. And I can tell you that story, but to jump ahead, she said you had to be a Christian if you want to date her. That's what her parents said. So I was like, oh, I could do that. And so that's how. So I said I could do that.
I can understand. I can relate.
Yep,
I
yep.
can
Hey,
relate.
right.
Yeah.
And thank God, she's my wife today. So it all worked
Oh
out.
wow.
You see what I'm saying? And
Okay.
we could get to that story. I don't know if you want to get to it now or if you want to wait, but yo, bro,
No,
we could get
we,
to
we
that.
could we could dive into a little later because
Okay.
that's a
Okay.
whole nother tangent by itself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Speaking of relationships, because
Yeah.
man, a relationship lasting as long as yours has, that's very
Mhm.
rare.
Yeah, man.
You don't see that nowadays.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
my grandparents, they were together 60 some odd years.
Oh wow. That's
And
awesome.
I've always admired that because no matter what, they stuck together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily have those examples, especially not within our community. Within the Black community, we really don't have a lot of those examples, unfortunately. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And I always told my wife, I said, I want to be married for 50 years.
Mhm.
But then as I started to grow as a person, started to grow as a man, as a husband, as a father, I realized I had to switch that up a little bit. And I said, I want to be happily married for
Mm.
50 years because
Yeah.
there's a lot of like if we go back into the Black community, the way I was raised, and I'm 53, so I don't know how I'm 53. I just turned 53 in October. So when I was growing up, it was um, you can be seen but not heard, right? So it's like it was like a lot of dark secrets in our families and the Black community, and
Yep.
everybody kind of knew what was going on,
Just ain't talk
and
about it.
right, and then tell nobody, and those marriages weren't healthy,
No,
right?
no.
And so I said I had to switch it up. I was like, I don't want to just be married for 50 years. I want to be happily married. And happily just means, baby, we're gonna work through some things. We're gonna work through some because it's work, right? I'm gonna make
Yes.
mistakes, you're gonna make mistakes, but we're gonna work through it because we are in a covenant relationship. And that's where I'm at right now.
Respect
And
that. I respect that a lot.
we've been married right now, as of today. We've been married for 29 years, together for 33 years.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Bro, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh man, I salute.
Yes,
Salute to you
sir.
both. Because
Thank you.
that that in itself is a great feat because I can only imagine how many different times you both have grown and changed and still managed to work it out and still managed to stay together
Yeah.
and love each other through those
Yeah.
changes. Like
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, we definitely got to come back and talk. We might have to do a whole nother
Serious.
interview on relationships and marriage, bro. Because
Yes, sir.
that right there, to me, that's a conversation that deserves its own time,
Yeah.
right? Because we can dive
Yeah.
so deep into that. Because honestly, bro, like I I've had my ups and downs with some wild relationships, good, bad, ugly, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So having that conversation, I feel like it deserves its own platform.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're gonna rewind a little bit.
Okay.
Got to understand it for who
Mm-hmm.
you are as a man and as a husband.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is your professional background?
So, um, this story might blow your mind as well. So, growing up in Harlem, um, we had this little maybe 13-inch, 9-inch, 13-inch black and white TV with the knob,
Mhm.
right? And when you cut off all the lights in the bedroom, It was a tube TV. So this is in the
Mm,
70s. So the
okay.
light would come out through the back and it would just like illuminate the wall in the room, right?
Yeah.
So I'm watching TV as a little kid and I'm like, my mind is like, how did these people get into this little screen, right? So as a kid, that's what I'm thinking, right? So
Right.
then I get up and it was on our TV was on a nightstand, right?
Hmm.
And it was in the middle of the room. So I got up as a kid. I'm looking at TV, black and white TV, and I'm
Hmm.
walking around the TV. And I'm like, how did these? I'm looking through it. I'm like, how did these people get in this TV? Okay, so that was the vision or the catalyst, right? So
Hmm.
then I'm in South Carolina. Um, my intentions were to go to college and play football, right? Because I was really fast in high school. I ran a 4.3 40,
Hmm.
and in the 100-yard dash I was 11.03 in 100. But there was kids, there was dudes blazing faster than me. But I was fast, right? And I was really good at football. So I thought I was gonna go to college, play football. I got injured and got depressed, which I didn't know at the time because I'm like, 17 years old, not knowing whatever. So I graduate college I'm sorry, I graduate high school. And then the girlfriend that I had in high school was super smart. She was like a straight A student. And so when I got injured that year that I took to recover, she was like, we like, what can I do to help you? Like, I don't like seeing you like this. I was just like, in my room in the dark, wasn't reaching out to nobody, blah, 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 whatever. Um, I didn't want to stay in South Carolina because I was like, I'm not trying to work in no factory. No disrespect for anybody that works in a factory,
That's what
but
it is
but
here.
there was nothing um nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'm like, man, I got to do something, whatever. But anyway, she came one day with this college book, this big old book, like a yellow pages type of thing. This was
Mhm.
huge, and it had all the colleges in America in it. And then she was
Hmm.
like, well, let's look through this book. I know you're going back to New York. Let's see if we can find something in New York that you can attend, a school that you can attend. So I was like, all right, cool. So I'm looking through the schools in New York. I'm seeing, NYU, I'm seeing Columbia, I'm seeing all these, prestigious schools, blah, blah, blah. And then I started getting to the CUNY section, which is the City University of New York. And I'm seeing Baruch, I'm seeing John Jay, I'm seeing Queens College, I'm seeing Brooklyn College, I'm seeing all these, boom. And I come and I arrived at a school called the Borough of Manhattan Community College. And for whatever reason, that school stuck out to me. And then I started looking at their majors. And I'm looking at the majors. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And I kid you not. And I'm the type of person, when I like something, I like it. And I know it right away. You know what I mean? And that's what music, food, people, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
I'm just like that. Like, you know what I mean? I guess that's what the South taught me. Right. So now I come across a major that says corporate and cable communications.
Hmm.
And I
Okay.
was like, wow. I was like, that's a title.
Yeah.
And I said, that's it. I said, that's the one. I said, I want to go to this school and I want to take that major. And she said, I'm gonna help you. So she helped me get into the school, and that's where I met my soon to be wife.
Wow.
Yes,
Look at
sir.
that.
Yes,
Divine
sir.
intervention, huh?
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
I'm telling you,
one
bro.
led you to the other. How
Yes,
about that?
sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. All right. So,
So my
what?
background is in I've been doing television broadcasts for like 30 plus years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got it. So, and this is what I never shared with you,
Mm-hmm.
but when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
actually,
Mm-hmm.
one of the courses that intrigued me was TV production,
Ah.
and I never got a chance to. I'm kicking myself because I never got a chance to actually attend any of those classes because
Mm-hmm.
I was in a program that was going to gear me towards college.
Mm-hmm.
It was a program for George Mason University called the Early
Mm.
Identification Program, EIP.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's been a part of that, you understand what EIP is.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a guidance counselor who looked at my curriculum and rearranged my curriculum for me for something that was more college bound.
Right.
And I was just like, it's not what I asked for, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what they saw. I don't know what they understood. But for whatever reason, my classes were rearranged, and I never got a chance to go into TV production. So
Okay.
there's that.
Okay.
But it always intrigued me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's ironic we even have that personality tie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yo, live
wow.
through me, bro. Live through me.
So you should be a whiz at this YouTube stuff, then, huh? Isn't this kind of a progression of of that field, isn't it?
I'm like, you ever heard like a contractor? They're like, man, I'm a contractor all day. When I get home, I don't want to work on my house.
I get it. I get it, bro. I get it.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
all right. So TV production.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been in television all this time.
Mm-hmm.
But we met in the real estate world.
Mm-hmm.
What about real estate intrigued you enough to really kind of dive in to that level and really get involved and start networking like you have?
Okay. I got stories, bro. So how I got into real estate is through my dad.
Okay.
So my dad, who's from Alabama, right? And fun fact, as a summer job
Mhm.
back in the 50s, I believe, he picked cotton as a summer job
Interesting.
in Alabama, right? So my dad, who went from, you know, outhouse shack picking cotton in high school just to make ends meet, get some money in his pocket. My dad went into the army, got out of the army, was in New York, and I think he worked for General Motors, upstate New York, and then they laid him off.
Mhm.
Okay, they laid him off, and then he took that money and he bought a carryout place, fish and chips.
Okay.
Okay, so my dad was an entrepreneur. So he owned in his lifetime he owned two stores in Harlem, and
Wow.
we'll say New York City. In New York City, he owned two stores, and I used to work for him in both places. And on our way home, we were all, like I said, I grew up. It was like a war zone. So we used to pass all these abandoned buildings. And one day he just stopped and he was like, "Man, somebody should buy that building, fix it up, and rent it out so people have a place to live." And I always cherish and hold that moment, in my spirit. So my dad, he taught me about stocks, real estate, business. Like he taught me those things. Um, but as far as the stores, those are the only two things he did. He never did the stocks, he never did the real estate. So fast forward, when he passed away, I just felt like this was the time for me to get into real estate because I wanted to honor my dad, you know? And he's like, I took care of my dad, in his sickness and everything. And we've always been close, right? And like growing up in New York, bro, I was like one of the few guys that had a dad and a mom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Unfortunately.
yes, that's unfortunate, bro. But my dad was the peanut butter to my jelly. That was my dude. You know what I'm saying? We did everything together. So he passed away. I want to honor him. And that's how I got into real estate. And that's how you and I eventually met.
Wow. Okay. So,
Right.
bro, again, here we go with the similarities, man.
Yep.
So, your dad grew up picking cotton.
Mm-hmm.
So did my mom.
Mm.
My mom picked cotton in South Carolina, grew
Mm-hmm.
tobacco on farms. Like so
Mm-hmm.
did my grandmother, all her siblings. Um, Another thing is that my mother is the reason why I'm in real estate now.
Mm.
Right?
Okay. Tell
So
it. Tell it.
I know you remember like all the Carlton Sheet stuff that was
Yep.
coming out. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
my mother she ordered that a few times actually in her career or throughout her
Oh, wow.
life.
Okay.
And I grew up watching Tarleton Sheets on VHS,
Oh, okay.
not really understanding what this guy was talking about. I just knew he was different from
Hmm.
everybody else I had seen. He was the only one who had like this super long infomercial that just wouldn't go off. I kept figuring like, when is this commercial going to go off, right?
Yep.
And he always had somebody on there talking about tiny houses with no money down,
Hmm.
right? And that's what resonated with me, or that's what stuck with me
Hmm.
throughout time. Is like, how do you like buy a house with no money down? And I didn't really think about it until I got older,
Hmm.
and then I got into real estate myself with my mother, ironically. So she was always a visionary, right? Like she loved real estate.
Hmm.
She used to take us driving for dollars back when we were kids, but she
Hmm.
would always play it off like, "Oh, we're going to turn in this neighborhood and we're going to get lost and see if we can find our way out." And I
Innovative.
didn't
I
catch on
like
until I was grown that like
it.
that's what she was doing. Like, and, we went along as kids, like, all right, okay, cool. Like, oh no, I think we like mom, I think we came in that way. She would always be like, no, 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 that's not the way, that's not the way, even though it was the way out.
Right, right.
Like we would kind of pick up like,
Hmm.
we're smart. We know how to get out of trouble. City
Hmm.
kids.
Yep.
We
Yep.
know how to we know how to get about out of a situation.
Hmm.
But she will always kind of, just take us in neighborhoods for rides and just drive for dollars that way. Right. So it's wild
I love
that we
that.
have these similarities,
Hmm.
you know, with the parent that we kind of grew up with, that we have this attachment to. You say you
Hmm.
took care of your pops. I'm
Yep.
taking care of my mom.
Yep.
Right. So we have all these similarities, bro. This is wild. Like
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't notice about you. Like we talked for months,
Yep.
right? Months on end, always had great rapport, and I never known these things. So this is
Hmm.
this is very revealing and very honestly, it's like I don't even know the word. I won't say humbling because it's not humbling, but it's revealing. Definitely
Yep.
revealing.
Hmm.
Yeah. It
Yep.
kind of makes me believe for sure, like, hey, I'm on the right path, right? Because
Mhm.
here I am with somebody that I can I can relate to,
Yep.
right? And I can align myself with and know that, hey, we're gonna look at this kind of the same way,
Yep.
right? So we
Yep.
can be on the same page.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's baffling. You know, ironically, both I grew up with both parents as well. Not necessarily in the same household, but I did
Mhm.
grow up with both parents when I was younger until I
Mhm.
moved to Virginia. But when I was younger, and this is how I know like I'm destined to be in real estate because both parents were actually in real estate.
Okay.
Both planted those seeds early on. I remember my father being a realtor, and I remember going to his real estate office trying to figure out like what are these like what are these signs for? Like, Dad,
Hmm.
why is your name on this sign? Like, are you famous? Like,
Hmm.
what is this? And even back at the house, like I remember seeing the signs, but it never clicked. Honestly, it didn't click until about 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I remember sitting down having that conversation with my father because, at certain points in life, like we didn't have the best relationship or have the most communication. But as I grew and as I matured, I began to like really have revelations about my relationships in life, and I wanted to clean these things up. I'm like, I can't go through life with this level of toxicity. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like if I want to break generational curses, it has to start with me and it has to start with the things that I feel are broken.
Yep.
So, just going back through and just making sure that I had a relationship with my father and not just a relationship, but a good one.
Hmm.
And we had some of those conversations. And that's when he was like, yeah, you don't remember me being a realtor? And then it clicked like, you were.
Right.
I remember seeing your signs. I remember going to your real estate office. And for whatever reason, like that office still to this day,
Hmm.
like I can take you right to it right now, even though I'm probably like 5 years old.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
still remember the office. I still remember being in the office and like the way it looked, the way it smelled. And
Hmm.
I hadn't been there a lot. I just remember going a few times.
Yeah. Yeah. It made an impression.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. It did.
Hmm.
And later on I became a realtor.
Hmm.
I'm still a licensed realtor, but it's funny how that works. Like we
Yeah.
plant these
Full
seeds in our
circle.
kids and don't even know what's gonna attach and what's gonna stick and what I mean, what's gonna take root.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. Wow. And I'll say this. So my relationship with my mom was like the one you had with your dad. So we were
Mm,
like inversed. You know what I'm
verse, yeah.
saying?
Yeah, that's wild, bro. That's
Yes,
wild.
sir. Yes,
And
sir.
it's
And the
funny because
same.
I grew up north
Hmm.
and my mother's actually from South Carolina and my father's from New Jersey.
Yep.
but I
So,
grew up north, and so I've always had that kind of southern upbringing as well.
mm-hmm,
Just
mm-hmm.
proxy my mother, my grandmother.
Yes, sir.
Wow,
Yep.
it's mind-boggling. Like once you sit down and talk to people,
Right.
you really start realizing how much you actually have in common.
Mm-hmm,
Right? So real estate, we're both in the real estate world.
mm-hmm.
Where do you see yourself going in this arena? Because there's so much that we can do here. Like everybody starts out kind of wholesale and trying to figure out how to make the fast money. But I think with your path, I think it's a little bit different because
Yeah.
of the community that we're both attached to, which is
Right.
the SubTo community.
Yep.
You're also a Gator,
Gator. Yep.
so you're what I call a SubTo cousin, right?
Yes.
Because it's a sibling community.
Yep.
And there's a lot of I won't say
Moving
cross
parts.
draft or cross group. Yeah, there's a lot of cross membership, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of the culture is shared between the two groups.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like two cousins growing up in the same household with the same grandma. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
y'all understand the
Which we
same
know
thing.
in the Black community happens a lot. Yep.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hmm.
So where do you see yourself going? Like, you know, first and foremost, like, how did you find that community? What led you to finding Gator, and what have you learned since you've found the Gator community and the SubTo community, and then kind of lead into like where do
The
you want to
long
go?
term. Okay.
Yeah.
So I found the Gator slash Sub2 community via YouTube and through a person called named Pace Morby, who's I guess our modern day Carlton Sheets, you know, and
That's right.
yeah, and Pace, teaches how to buy real estate using creative finance, and that just blew my mind because, with a lot of things in this world, it hinges on tradition, and this is the one way, this is the only way that the masses can do something. And Pace was like, nah, you can do this creatively. And when he delved into that subject matter, it just light bulbs went off, epiphanies, whatever, angels singing, whatever you want to say happened. And I was like, oh man, I gotta learn this. So that's how I got into Gator. And then I would say like for me being in the community right now, my focus is being a connector, kind of like walking in your footsteps. You know what I mean? Because you are Mr. Connector. That's what I call you. You are Mr. Connector, and
Try.
you
I try.
you can teach a master class, bro, in that. And so that's what I'm focusing on right now. I just started focusing on it the last 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
Before that, I did try to attempt at the low hanging fruit, which is providing earnest money deposits, for wholesalers. But right now, I think my niche, my groove, is being a connector. Just for the same reason, like how you mentioned before, like man, when you really sit down to talk to somebody, doors open up, and you just don't know what you guys have in common until you actually sit down and speak to one another. You know what I mean? And when I have those conversations, like I said, all my life, Lawrence, man, like I've been able to like connect with young people, adults, senior citizens, strangers, homeless people, like you name it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And and I kind of do that at work as well. So I felt like this right now is the lane that I want to be in, and with the idea and the goal and the aspiration to eventually go into buying and holding real estate, and then but also too being able to train and teach and coach other people who are looking to do deals, who might be trying to transition from a W-2 into real estate, or just people that just are interested in real estate and just don't know where to start. Like I want to help those people, so that's
Mm.
where I want to go. And again, to um to piggyback on what you said earlier, generational curses, man, those things are real. I want to break the one that we have in our family. I want to help other people break theirs. I want people. I think we're all people. I think we're all connected. And I think like, a couple of people shouldn't have everything. And I don't think that you should give handouts to people, because also too, if you do that on a consistent basis, that's going to take away their creativity. That's going to eliminate their work ethic. So that's not the answer as well. But I think growing up in New York, one of the murals that I always remember walking by at a city park, each one teach one, right?
Mhm.
Which conveys the thought of, giving a man a fish, right? He'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So those
Exactly.
two sayings always stuck in my mind as a little kid, made a big impression on me. And that's where I want to see myself, whether it be real estate, whether it be television, whatever I do, I want to basically be that person that teaches somebody how to do something so that they can eat and live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, live prosperously.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I take that term handout,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't give handouts, but I give hands up.
Hands up.
You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Because I don't mind uplifting the next man, right?
Yep.
If I can show
Exactly.
you how to do something and
Mm-hmm.
you go on and live a prosperous life, or you benefit from it greatly,
Mm-hmm.
and you can show somebody else, that's what it's really about. Each
Amen.
one teach,
Yep.
go from that point.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what I mean? And and when you do that, you actually can create business partners, or
Mm.
at least partners in some sense, in some aspect, who can
Mm-hmm.
kind of help you navigate this thing we call life. Because we can't do this thing alone, man. We're never.
Nope.
I always say we were never meant to live alone,
Right.
right?
Right.
Even though a lot of us prefer being alone. Like I'm somebody. I honestly, I prefer a lot of quiet time, a lot of alone time.
Me too.
It allows me to recharge. It allows
Yeah.
me to think
Mm-hmm.
clearly,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? And then it allows me to be a better human being when I come around other
Right.
people.
Exactly.
If I don't have that time to recharge, like you won't want to be around.
Yeah.
Like, just keep it 100. Like I'm
Yeah.
not the most pleasant person when I don't have my time to think and recharge and regroup. But
It's facts.
I just think we are meant to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
We are meant to build each other up, to uplift each other, and to help each other grow and learn, and just overall be better human beings.
Yep. Amen.
Awesome. So I mean, it seems like you have some really big plans in terms of real estate, some really lofty, respectable goals.
Yes,
Right.
sir. And I'm trying to bring as much people with me as I can, bro. As long as they want to come, let's go.
Why not? Why not? As long as you got
Because
the right attitude and the right
right,
mindset, like
right.
everything's possible.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to say anything's possible, but I'd say everything's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like when you say anything, there's really no intention behind it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you say
Mm-hmm.
everything, that means like, oh, all of it? Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
We're doing all of it.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
it's great to know that your avatar's kind of switched to connector.
Mm-hmm.
And I have noticed you in a couple of groups. You're in network to net worth, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought I saw you in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a great group to belong to. I'm learning a
Yep.
lot about being a connector in there.
That's where I learned. Yep.
But it's ironic because as a connector, like most people tend to relate that word and like, oh, you're just gonna plug in everybody all the time. Like you know what I mean? Like they have this. What I envisioned initially was like spider web,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now what I envision now is like
Mm-hmm.
single,
Yep.
like one single. And I realized that there are different types of connectors out there.
Mm-hmm.
There are some who know everybody, who are the life of the party, and then there's other people like me who's just kind of quiet and in the corner. But like, if
Yeah.
you go ask me, like I know,
Yeah.
you know what
I'm
I
like
mean?
that. We're similar. I don't
Yeah,
want to be up front. I don't want to be the life of the party. I want to be the support that, like, hey, I need something. Let me go to
mm,
Lawrence. I need something. Let me go to Trevor. They're gonna point me to the right person.
yeah. But ironically, you know where that comes from for me at least.
Mhm.
And this is I guess me taking something that's seen as negative and really using it as a positive.
Okay.
But I grew up around a lot of drug dealers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is. Like
Hmm.
that was just kind of an unwritten code. Like you just don't talk about it, right?
Hmm.
Like you gather your resources, you have your connections, but you just don't really speak on it until it's worthy to be spoken upon.
Hmm.
And I've always kind of taken that approach to life. Like I don't want everybody knowing what I have going on,
Hmm.
right? Just like, you know me, you see me, we'll speak, we'll be cordial, but
Yeah.
I have a very select few people that I actually let into my home and into my inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
And, like those are the ones I treat special, right? Like
Yep.
those are the ones I make sure I take care of, and I take that same approach to connecting. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm going to sift through and figure out who are the special ones and who are the ones that I need to keep close and who are the ones that, I want to go the extra mile to look out for because I realize like they're a good person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
They're looking out for people the same way I'm looking out for people. So those are
Mm-hmm.
the ones I take care of.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily who you would think. Like I know a lot of people that are really connected, have a lot of really good resources, but I probably wouldn't deal with them as people. Like most people's mindset was like, oh, you got to take care of the person who has the most. No, no, no. I take care of the person who cares the most.
Yes. Yes. Facts. Facts. Yep. And I'll tell you my quick drug dealer story. So I grew up 3 blocks away from the Apollo Theater. So
Okay.
the one of the drug dealers that was on my block, one day, oh, this is the first time I ever saw this, but they put the basketball hoop like a real glass basketball hoop on the light pole. And this is
Oh
in the
wow.
this is in the 70s, right?
Uh-huh.
And one of the drug dealers, one day, he pulled out in the little black case, he flipped it open, he showed me a gold Pan American medal, right? And I used to see this dude, like he had the sweetest jump shot I've ever seen, in the hood, right? And so this dude went from winning a gold Pan American basketball medal to selling drugs in the hood, right?
Wow.
And he told me, he was like, "Oh, you're so and so's kid." He was like, "I got you. Ain't nobody, like nobody's messing with you. Like you're gonna make it out, and then you're gonna like make something of yourself." Like he was one of those people God brought in my life when I didn't even know God existed, other than looking up at the
Mhm.
sun, like I told you before. But he was one of those people. He was just like, "Yeah, this life right here, that's not for you." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna make something of yourself, and I'm gonna make sure while I'm here, you're gonna be good. So that's my drug dealer
Yeah.
story.
I find it amazing like the 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 shift in ethics and morals from
Mm-hmm.
generation to generation. Because I was just watching a video where they were speaking upon that. Like, I think it was Busta Rhymes actually.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about like how back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
like if you were on the block, you were doing whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
when one of the elders walked past, you stopped all your nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you
Yep.
seen them walking with groceries, like you went and you helped the
Yep.
lady up
Carried
the
up the
stairs and to
stairs.
the grocery
Yep.
bag. Like you know what I mean? Like we had a different code back then,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I watched like over time how it's changed to where
Degraded.
we've gone to like respecting our elders still, like even in the midst of our knuckleheadedness.
Mm-hmm.
To now we degrade them and like we berate them and we beat them and put them on social media. Like I don't get that flip at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I just want to kind of pour back some of the ethics and the morals back into the community so we can kind of fix that.
Amen.
Because if we don't have our elders, we don't take care of our elders. Who are we learning from? Right? And if you don't learn, you don't grow. If you don't grow, you perish.
Yeah. Yeah. And being that you said that, like one of the reasons why I really do miss my dad
Mm.
is because I can't ask him questions.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
can't, like, I used to ask him a lot of questions like, Daddy, what happened back then? Like, what happened in this year? What happened when you were in high
Yeah.
school, when you was in college, when you was da.
Yeah.
I can't do that now. You know what I
Right.
mean? And my pastor says, shout out to A.R. Bernard Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn. He says, if a person doesn't have a vision for their future, they will always return to their past,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And if your past is destructive,
Mm.
what is that going to mean for not only your future, but the people in your circle's future?
Wow.
Think
That's
about that.
profound.
Think about that.
That's really profound. That's like it makes me think of like when you place bad fruit next to
Oh
fresh
yeah.
fruit,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
what happens to the fresh
Yeah.
fruit?
Yeah.
It becomes like the bad fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's really profound,
Mm-hmm.
man. So we can definitely have conversations upon conversation upon
Oh yeah.
conversation, and
Yeah.
You know, I'm the kind of person like I'll get away from the conversations about business,
Hmm.
right? Because we can talk about that anytime, right?
Yep.
I prefer conversations about life
Yep.
because to me that's what's more meaningful. Like business can take you so far, but life can definitely teach you about business, right? It can definitely help you grow in business.
Hmm.
Um, and I and maybe it's just me being on this growth spurt or being in this growth spurt that I'm in, but I really feel like that's the most important life, most important part of life right now
I agree.
is the growth, is the upward development.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
is us talking about all the things that we were told we shouldn't speak on back in the day. Like you don't talk about that. Like no, we
Yep.
need to talk about it. That's
Yep.
why we end up how we are because we didn't talk about that. So let's talk about it
Exactly.
now.
Yep.
Um, bro, I'm a I'm a little I won't say numb or like dumbfounded, but kind of shocked like some of the things that I learned about you today. You know, because I didn't realize like I knew we were cool. I knew we
Yeah. Yeah.
knew my brother through and through.
Yes, sir.
Know we
Yes,
had a
sir.
vibe like we could sit there and we could chill and probably just politic all day long. But I
Hmm.
never understood why until today.
The day. Yeah.
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 So I get it. Definitely kindred souls, man. Kindred
Yeah.
spirits.
And
So
but from that first conversation,
yeah, it's always been.
I knew we were the same spirit. I already knew it. Like I told you, I know right away. I
Yeah.
know right away.
And
And
bro,
we never
honestly,
had
man,
this
like
much time to really talk and like get deep. You know what I mean? You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah. Because honestly, it's always been like something wild and crazy. But honestly, that first conversation, bro, that was a lifesaver, and you have no idea, right? Like I was really, really going through it at that point in time. Um, I don't think you knew it at that time, but like that was right after my mother's heart attack.
mm, mm-hmm,
And I want to say it was probably like the first week or two after.
mm-hmm,
So I was really reeling from that. And then in addition to that, like after she had the heart attack, she had come back home and she had another incident one night where she kept passing out, like
mm-hmm,
blacking out.
mm-hmm.
And she blacked out 3 times back to back in my arms.
Wow.
So I actually got a chance to like watch her eyes roll back in her head,
Mm-hmm.
watch her brain reboot, and then watch her come back to life, like, hey, what's going on, baby? And then pass back out.
Wow.
So emotionally, I was
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And that's what really took me so long to actually come back and talk to people because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even able to share that with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, hey, mom had a heart attack. Like I couldn't tell them like, hey, I watched my mother. Like I thought she died 3 times back to back in
Mm-hmm.
my arms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but like talking to you at that time, I think that was one of those conversations where it's just like, I don't know this person, but I know God sent them to talk to me because that was a very healing conversation.
And you opened up. Yeah,
I did.
you
I did
did.
because, like you said, like people just open up to you, and I don't know what it was about you, man, but I just felt like this is probably somebody I could trust and I could speak to. So definitely want to thank you for being a vessel and being a tool that God could use at that moment because I
Amen.
definitely needed somebody
Amen.
who understood without me
Yes, sir.
having to say.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so man, I appreciate you, bro.
I
I know
appreciate
this is
you, bro.
definitely going to be one of those relationships that we've established.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna it's gonna be a lifelong
Lifetime.
friendship,
Yeah.
a
Yep.
lifelong brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
I plan on making a lot of money with
Oh, me
you.
too.
And I know for us, like it's not about making the money,
No, it's
right?
about
But the money is
impact.
another tool.
Exactly.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But we can do a lot of good with the money that we make in the business relationships that we're going to forge.
Yep.
So I'm definitely looking forward to tapping in and
Mm-hmm.
staying connected with you, bro. And seeing like having some of these ideas that I know we both have like
Yep.
come to life.
Yep.
So but I think for now, like we can kind of wrap this conversation up, and then we're definitely gonna have more of these interviews, bro.
Yes,
Because
sir.
as we grow
I
and
got
as we
I got I
go
got
forward,
books. I got books.
yeah, yeah. But I wanted to
Books.
before we sign off though,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get a closing thought from you. Like, what is one thing, the one thing that when you are no longer here,
Mm-hmm.
what is that one thing that you want to be remembered for, that you want your name to be synonymous with? What is that thing for you?
It's got to be those two out of the three things that we mentioned at the top.
Hmm.
That Trevor was an encourager. He encouraged me, and he helped by giving me great advice.
Hmm.
Right, and that just basically like how you and I connected. So it's like somebody has a need that they're holding close, or they just went through something or whatever, and then I text you, or I call you out of the blue, or you call me, and then I just hear in your spirit, I hear in your voice something ain't right. And then
Hmm.
God just downloads questions, and then you open up, and you receive what you need in that moment, like how would happen with you. Like you receive what you need in that moment, and you hang up, and you're like, damn, I'm glad I spoke to that brother. Like that brother
Yeah.
encouraged me, that brother was helpful, whatever, how it goes for you specifically as an individual. That's how I want to be remembered, because that's my life. You know what I mean?
Powerful.
Yes, sir.
Powerful. So I'm gonna start labeling you the healer.
Oh, I like it.
But
Oh
bro, this
man.
conversation
Yes,
this has
sir.
been a great conversation, man.
Like what? Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
I
sir.
always look forward to
Facts.
combos with you because I know they're gonna be full of valuable life content. Not necessarily just like, oh, that was a great conversation. It's gonna be something I could walk away with. And I know you're gonna pour into me just like I'm gonna pour into you.
Yes, sir.
And it's
Yes,
gonna be
sir.
something that I can turn back around and pour into somebody else.
Yes, sir.
So
Continuation of life. You know what I mean?
indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So brother, thank you for coming on.
Ah, my
Thank you for
pleasure.
being a part of, the
Yes.
Ambition Alchemy
Mm-hmm.
broadcast podcast YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Especially significantly the Origin series, which you
Mm-hmm.
coined. So thank you for that, because without that, like, that just came from a random conversation that we
Yeah.
had.
Yep.
And you like, hey, what about Origins? And I'm like, ah, right. So,
Yes,
like I said,
sir.
I always believe God puts the right people in our path, and I'm glad he placed us in each other's paths so that
Yes,
we can
sir.
continue to bless
Yes,
other
sir.
people, man.
Yes, sir. And may I say this, Lawrence? I love you, bro. You
Love you too, brother.
are you are so authentic. You are so genuine. You are such a connector plug. Anybody that is able to just sit at your feet and just listen to you, man,
Mhm.
their lives will be changed. You hear me? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I thank you for your time. I thank you for your empathy. I thank you for you have a spirit that's at peace. Like every time I see you, bro, you're just like at peace. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's what
I
I
would
that's
never
what I
hear the.
sense. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm striving for,
Yep.
right? And honestly, I will say that is a everyday
Mm-hmm.
struggle,
Yeah.
everyday endeavor. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to call it a struggle because some days it's really easy to find peace, but I endure and I endeavor to find that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to know that that's what you feel
Yeah.
from your perspective.
When I speak to you, that's what I feel. Yes, sir.
Fair enough.
I don't know
Fair
about
enough.
those other people, but what I feel, that's what I feel.
Hey, you know what? I'm a reflection, bro.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you feel peace, it's because you're bringing peace. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Definitely thank you, bro.
Thank you.
We're gonna do some good things in the future.
Yes,
For
sir.
those of you watching, please go tap in with Trevor. Really, really good dude. Really great heart, as you can see from the
Mm,
conversation. But just take your time, take a chance, and get to know him. Work with him, especially within the real estate realm. Like he's somebody that you want on your team. Like when you're looking for good quality people and you're like they're hard to find, you just found one.
I
Right,
appreciate
Trevor
that.
Finn, love you, bro.
Love you,
Appreciate
Lawrence.
you.
Blessings.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Signing off.
Salute.